The Furman Lake hasn't always looked as it does today. Let's travel back in time over 50 years. Before the lake water was filled with all the pollution it currently contains, it was a place of engaged learning and recreation for students and faculty on the campus. Construction on the 40-acre lake began in 1953 and was completed in 1954. To begin construction on a lake, a crew must either dam a river or a stream and allow water to pool in a confined area, or construct a bed as well as banks to contain the water. In the case of the Furman Lake, the latter way was chosen to construct the lake. The lake's main water source came from, and still continues to come from, two tributary streams, as well as some storm runoff. Storm runoff is one of the main causes of the way the lake is today.
So that was the lake's construction and a bit of its history. That was the 1950s and a few years afterwards. However, after the creation of the lake comes the use and the opportunity for students and all others to take advantage of this new recreational and academic facility. In the 1970s to the 80s, the lake was used as a recreational resource. Students now had a facility to enjoy the southern weather by means of swimming, kayaking, windsurfing, diving, and generally frolicking in the water. Professors were able to use the lake to infuse outdoor activities into their courses.
Let's look at an interview with Brittany DeKnight, Assistant Director of the Shy Center. Here she expounds on the three main problems with the lake and solutions that the Shy Center offers.
And so over the past several years, we have tried to address the kind of three main sources of the problem, if you will. One are the waterfowl that are in the lake. One problem is nutrient input coming in from the two streams that feed the lake. And one problem is just runoff coming from the areas around the lake, not through the streams, but just directly from parking lots and grass areas into the lake. And so to combat those three problems, we've undertaken a number of measures to help reduce the waterfowl population to a healthier level. We have changed the vegetation around the lake to make it less friendly to waterfowl. We've also discouraged folks who had come to visit Furman from feeding the birds, which had been a very common pastime. To help deal with some of the nutrient input coming in the streams, we changed the way that some of the streams flow, implemented some settling ponds in the streams to get some of those sediments and nutrients to settle out before they entered the lake proper. And then we also have changed the vegetation around the lake shore to make it more impervious to run, or less friendly for runoff. So basically increasing the amount of vegetation and changing the kind of patterns of vegetation around the lake so that less runoff would enter the lake.
Brittany DeKnight did a great job outlining the problems facing the Furman Lake, but some of you may still be wondering how those things actually affect water quality, and how do we know they are getting better? I asked biologist Wade Worthen to share his scientific insight, and he started with the lake's most visible problem, the Canada geese.
Canada geese defecate about 1/4 pound of feces a day. So 400 waterfowl, granted not all of them were geese, but we're looking at almost 100 pounds of feces a day. Canada geese also, rather unusual for birds, harbor E. coli bacteria in their gut as we do. And so their fouling of the water presented a potential health risk to people.
The Furman Lake is really a great example of an ecosystem gone bad. Dr. Worthen explained how various academic departments use it as a teaching opportunity for their students.
We use the lake as a model system to look at environmental issues and issues of how a lake works and functions, and issues of sustainability as well. Most notably, since we have a defined date at which the lake restoration project really began, which was the fall of 2006 when we started, we have then a benchmark date, and we can compare what the chemical and biological conditions of the lake were before with conditions since that point. So we actually have posted much of that information on the website. That includes student reports from last year's ecology class. Like I said, students in many biology classes are monitoring the bacteria over time. We have students that are involved in research on the lake. I had a student that was looking at dragonfly communities last year on the lake. Another student who was doing a survey of reptiles on campus, which included the turtles in the lake. And many EES students have been using the lake as a sample point in their studies of water quality in the upstate.
So what's all the research telling us? Is the lake actually getting any better?
Water quality has improved dramatically. The EPA sets particular guidelines for the amount of bacteria, the concentration of bacteria that you can have for water that's going to be used for particular things. So water that's classified as recreational water for recreational use has an upper limit of 126 E. coli cells per 100 milliliter sample of water. And 5 years ago, we had levels that were 30 to 50 times that on occasion. And we haven't seen those spikes in the last couple of years. Now concentrations are most often below that critical level, but they do spike above it, on occasion 30% above it, not 30 times above it.
Now that we've heard from Dr. Worthen, here's Brittany Denied again, with her views for short and long-term goals for the future of the lake.
We have the overall lake plan includes everything that we would need to do to kind of dredge the lake, change the way that the lake is shaped so kind of change the depth profile, and we've mapped all of that out. And that action, kind of dredging it, getting rid of all the sediments that have accumulated in the lake and the pollutants that have accumulated there as well. Doing that would allow it to be a recreational area again, be used for swimming, boating, fishing, all of those different things. And so that is, I think, the ultimate goal. The problem is that that's a really large undertaking, and so that's a very long-term goal. More immediately, I think that the shorter-term goals are to make the lake more attractive, to decrease the algae blooms that we experience in the summer that make it a kind of not pleasant place to be, and to just make it really the centerpiece of Furman's beautiful campus, again, as it has been, as well as to make it a healthier environment for the plant and animal life that have the lake as a home.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The 40-acre Furman Lake used to be used as a place of recreation and engaged learning for all of the Furman community.
The lake can no longer be seen as a recreational resource because the conditions have depleted so much.
The lake is not what it used to be, but thanks to the hard work of faculty, students, and outside organizations, it's rapidly changing for the better. And the water quality is not actually as bad as most people perceive it to be.
Due to these changes and others that are being made currently by the Shy Center for Sustainability and outside contributors, the lake is improving in its conditions. Hopefully one day in the future, it can return to being a space used for recreational activity. This has been the Furman Lakers!
Yeah! The 40-acre Furman Lake used to be...
God! After that,
its community.
the lake can no longer be seen as... I'm really sorry!
The 40... Okay. Okay.
The lake can no longer be seen as a recreational resource because the conditions depleted to worse than it is now, and